We're trying to catch up. It's been such a busy day, and this is Juliet at Healing Waters, and I'm with my lovely friend Brigitte Antelme, who's in the south of France, at the ocean. In the where are you, in Les Landes, or you're on the Atlantic coast, Brigitte?
Yes, Les Landes, just above near Messanges plage, so it's just on the Atlantic coast, southwest France, way below Bordeaux and above Biarritz, Bayonne.
And have you had a really lovely day there?
Yes, because today it's a very high tide, and when the tide went out, it's the first time there were pools of water, and it went so far out, I could walk. It was such a feeling of spaciousness.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
before we get into a conversation, I just want to do my usual check whether this is going not. So for some reason,
I can see it's live,
but it's not live on Facebook.
Ah.
I thought there was a problem this morning.
Yes, Jack Cox, blessings and salutations.
Ask Jack where are you viewing from, because I can't.
Are you on Facebook, Jack, or are you on something else? I don't know. Jack, can you hear us, please? And thank you for your blessings.
Okay, everything's fine. So we are live. I don't know if we're live on Twitter.
I can see there is something says live.
Yeah, on so just bear with us, everybody.
YouTube. Jack is on YouTube. Thank you, Jack. We're checking if it works on Facebook.
Yeah. Okay, we do very well with our grasp of technology because we weren't born in the technological age. We are elders.
Yes, it's just last night everything went down at about this time. I'm talking about Facebook, Instagram, and.
I mean, last night or a few days ago?
No, that was last night.
Again, because it wasn't last night. On Monday it went down.
Okay, maybe it was Monday.
Yes. Okay, so that's okay. So wonderful. Well, we've done the best that we can, and Jack, you're there, which is brilliant. And anyone else, please do put your name and say hello, because that cheers us up and gives us a sense that like we're having some kind of success with our endeavor here. It's like, how do those people do it? Those people that have got millions and millions of people watching. I don't know what they're, how they do that, but anyway, so you should be able to see us on Facebook, and do start a watch party, because I think that's the way to share information, and we hope to be able to share with you. Brigitte, are you going to sneeze again?
No, I'm falling asleep. I've just walked 10 kilometers today.
Oh my goodness. Tell us about your 10 kilometers.
Well, I did about 5.5 kilometers on that amazing beach. So I did a Facebook live streaming because it was just so beautiful. It was just so pristine. And it was just like the beginning of the world creation. The water was pure and clear, and the pools were beautifully like turquoisey green. And the water, because it was a high and low tide with a high coefficient, it means it went way away from the sand dunes. And I've never seen it like that in the last 2.5 weeks.
You mean the tide was really, really far out?
Yes. It's the
Okay.
first time ever.
And what does a high coefficient mean? I don't
A high
understand.
coefficient means it's over 120 or over 130. Low coefficient is about 40 to 50.
For what? What are they measuring?
Where they're measuring how far up the tide comes and how low and how far back it
Oh, I
goes.
see.
And
So,
it's about the waves. So right now, this morning, the waves were very gentle, very small. Last night, the waves were about 3 meters high as they were rolling in.
gosh, that's a
And
huge difference.
yeah, it's huge. And this morning, they were about 0.5 meter.
Yeah, okay.
So that gives a little feeling of when the coefficient is high, it means the tide is going to go very powerful and move a huge amount of wood and debris and all sorts of rubbish that is going to drop on the side of the line where it comes and licks the sand.
Where
And
the
that's
waves
how,
lick the sand.
yes, where the waves breaks at its highest point.
Okay.
But when it goes out, it doesn't carry back the dirt. It leaves it at the high tide.
Oh, I see. I see. So today is a very special day in that it's the new moon.
Yes.
And here it's also the start of, not here, but it's also, I mean, around the world it must be the start of lots of things, but one of the things that it's the start of is Navaratri. And we have just been down in the Healing Spring, and we have a beautiful statue of Mary there, and a beautiful Buddha. And every new moon we're doing a little ceremony, and we decided today that we were going to do a ceremony with Mary, but Mary, it's a divine feminine. She represents the divine feminine, so we also included Lakshmi as also part of that divine feminine, the goddess. I'm not Hindu, I have no idea of all the teachings around it, but abundance. I've always had a picture of Lakshmi ever since I ever came here to Glastonbury, and she's always been on my altar, and it's like she's the goddess, the mother goddess, the goddess of the earth and abundance, and
Yeah.
you know, she just flows an incredible energy and flow around her. So we did this little ceremony sprinkling rose petals over Mary, who also represents Lakshmi, and Lakshmi represents Mary, so to speak, that divine mother energy.
Beautiful.
So beautiful in the spring with the birds singing and lots of beautiful red rose hips everywhere, and including some really, really big, the Rosa Rugosa rose hips, which we shared amongst each other for prasad at the end, just the offering, the blessed offering. You know, the Rosa Rugosa, they're so sweet. You can eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. And then I gathered a big bag of rose hips. I'm drying them to make rose hip tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can make beautiful rose hip syrup or rose hip jam, but you have to freeze them first.
Okay.
They have to be, the frost has to be on them to soften, and then you make the most amazing jelly with them, and it's full of vitamin C.
Yeah.
So yes, the feminine, the divine feminine, we each carry that, men and women. It's the Shekinah, the divine feminine.
Yeah.
So
It's
by
really
saying beautifully, our sacred ceremonies.
Yeah, it feels so important at this moment to just really anchor our communities into some sacred gathering, that connection with each other, and spending time together where we're just like singing together or praying together or eating together.
Yeah.
Later on, we're going to have a meal together.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Community.
Beautiful, so important. And I was just in the polytunnel as well, and we've got a huge basket of cucumbers. I picked the biggest, fattest cucumbers. I mean, they're the cucumber plants that just keep giving and giving.
Oh, beautiful.
It's
You
amazing.
can do the most amazing gazpacho soup
Ah,
with tomatoes, garlic, a bit of olive oil, a bit of lemon juice. It's delicious. It's cold soup. And you can always add a little bit of, not the almonds, but the other one. What are they called? Cashew nuts. And that makes a whole meal with a little bit of toast.
Oh, you should be here, Brigitte,
Yeah.
making some of your lovely food. So,
Well, I've been making some amazing. I found some fungi in the forest, the genuine black cap cep boletus,
okay.
and then I made some rice and corn pasta. It's a wheat-free one, and then I mixed it with the fungi after it was cooked, and I did a little bit of garlic. It was just delicious. Very earthy food. It is just like we're at a change right now. We're moving into autumn, and finding those fungi under the ferns, beautiful ferns, was just starting to turn golden brown, but still green. It's just like they're inviting. It's an invitation. So I've been going in the forest. I've been as well going by the ocean, really celebrating in a different way from you, but still honoring the waters, the feminine waters, the waters of life, and taking everything back to the essential. And as well, I've been going inland today and yesterday and the day before, and walking through forest and seeing springs like rivers, little rivers. And today I saw the most beautiful heron. It was just so poised, and you were talking about this sacred ritual you were doing and just offering petals. And this heron, as I just found this stream and saw the beautiful golden flowers, and it just got disrupted from his fishing. I didn't know he was there, and it just went just a little bit further. And I thought, what beautiful being. And he too was like in a meditative space of just standing like a branch or like a tree. And it just felt so beautiful just to be witnessing his energy. And what that touched in me was just to stay still with that presence.
That's beautiful. It's such a beautiful day. And yeah, now the sun's going down a little bit, but today's been a real blessing for me. Yeah.
So I'm so glad to hear that, because I know you've been absolutely overextended.
So busy.
Right. Yeah, you've been busy beyond busy.
Busy here at Healing Water.
And sometimes you can get overwhelmed, because if you overstretch yourself, then you start ticking into what I call our batteries, where we store the surplus which we are going to need. And when our batteries are really flat, then it's really difficult to start recharging them. Sometimes it just doesn't work.
That's right. It's like with a battery, if you let it go completely to flat, then it's much more difficult to charge than if we kind of charge when it's like 3/4 empty.
Yeah.
That's what I've had to learn, because I used to completely wipe myself out. It would be so much to deal with, and then I'd be completely exhausted. But I very rarely get to that place now.
Yeah.
So I'm just moving slightly. So yeah, this is really what I teach in the trauma skills training. It's like people can be very, very distressed and their mental health really unstable. But the first steps to do is not some magic wand kind of magic healing or drugs or whatever. It's the number one thing to do is to start taking care of yourself, to start filling those batteries up with things that actually are really soothing to your nervous system, really nourishing and slowing down and caring for yourself. This is the foundation of trauma healing, and the foundation of just like feeling good instead of feeling bad.
That's interesting you're saying that, because there is so much resistance to going with that. It's like it's the last place we tend to rescue others or reach out to others or help others or be there for others collectively, individually. But turning that 180 degrees and starting to gift that to ourselves, that's a huge U-turn. It's a huge step. I feel it's the first step to healing.
Yeah, absolutely. The first step to healing, and it's like we're turning around the whole paradigm, aren't we? There's this big pressure on people at the moment that they have to get these injections, otherwise they're being selfish.
Yeah.
Rather than thinking, if I take care of my body and I'm really, really healthy, that's the best gift I can give. And
Yeah.
and when we do that, our health is so much better, our immune system is better. And it's like when we're flying in a plane and then the oxygen goes off and they say, put the oxygen mask on yourself first of all. Because if you don't do that, then how can you help? So it's
Anyone else? That's a very important point, Juliet. Yes, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself. And that's so safety first. It's the first safety. And then you can help others who might not be able to put their mask because they're just panicking. That's a very important point. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about people feeling empowered, each one of us feeling empowered because we're taking care of ourselves enough. We're not giving out our power to other people, the medical authorities or the governments or whatever. We know that we can empower ourselves. We can take care of our own health. And when we're nourished and we're not absolutely stressed, then we have that kind of intelligence, that ability to think clearly about things. But if we allow ourselves through our own self-negligence just to give our power over to other people and push and push and push and try to conform with these really high pressure paradigms of like, oh, you've got to conform, being in the rat race and doing all these things and working hard to earn tons and tons of money and, all these kind of, this old kind of way of doing things. It's so out of alignment, isn't it?
It is. It is. And it's been taken so far, this compliance, trusting, blindly trusting the health regulations, the governments, what information is being offered, that we have forgotten how to think for ourselves. And it's been taken so far. It is just like on the edge of no return, even. That's what I feel with a lot of people. It's just on the edge where they no longer know how it is not to hand over. So if I was to question that, what is it about me that needs to hand over my power to take care of myself? And it takes me back to trauma.
Yeah.
If I take that back, trauma, collective trauma, and brainwashing. When daddy figure, mother figure, authority figure knows what is good for me, well, that needs to be challenged. And how am I challenging that? And that is when, with collective trauma, fear comes up, doesn't it? And what do I do with the fear? It's like my friend said, oh, you're going in the sea. I said, yes. But I won't be able to get you out. I said, that's okay. I won't go unless I feel 100% okay going. So it's where is that fear in me? When it is there. And what is in the formation it is telling me? Because it's a great, great teaching. Wow. In the Amerindian medicine and shamanic medicine, walking the shaman's path, fear walks beside us. And it's there to remind you, here you might be in danger because that wave is 3 or 4 meters high. And it's got such a power, it will knock you. And will you be able to stand up?
Yeah.
So can I think that process through? So right now, when I put myself into a situation where I'm handing over my power, my health, because like this woman I met who is working in a hospital in Dax, not far from here, she took the jab. She took that experimentation. So her children wouldn't have to do it.
Yeah,
So
I understand the logic of that. She took it so that her children wouldn't have to take it.
So one, she took it because her children wouldn't have to take it. Two, she took it because of the peer pressure as a nurse within a body of carers. But who is going to be answerable when, as we've just been told, I think it wasn't last night, it's the night before Monday night on television, through my friends who gave me the information, one of the media TV channels, it was shared that everyone in France who had taken the experimentation injections, their immune system was from now on compromised.
So that came out in the mainstream media.
Yes, but I don't know on which channel.
Okay, that's amazing if they've actually begun.
So it is starting, it is like there is an information starting to be releasing inside the media. Maybe not on the main channels, but on the alternative television. And that is a start.
Yeah, because we've known all along, I mean, it goes back years and years and years that people have been damaged by these different kinds of injections.
Yeah.
That's been happening for like a century now, that there's been so much death and so much injury, but it's been very controlled that people don't really know about it. But now they're rolling this program out, which isn't really even one of those things that people have been, it's actually changes your whole DNA.
Yeah, yes. And what I've been thinking and looking for right now, rather than going with the fear or the panic with loved ones having chosen, it's their path to have chosen that experimentation, is to find solutions. So
Yeah, that's important.
if they reach out to me, if they do, but I can always say, I can send you this information. And so if I do my research, which I have, I can concisely say, oh, you can do that, and that. And it's so simple. And then it's up to them.
Yes.
And that will support them clearing, I mean, any one of us, anyway, irrespective of what's been going on, we still need to clear heavy metals. So, zeolite is very important to clear heavy metals. Charcoal is very important to clear chlorine and toxicity. There's glutathione, which is so simple. Kefir has some. Vitamin C, magnesium. I mean, there's so many things. Taking the sun, going in the sun, going in the fresh air, going for a cycle ride, hugging a tree, hugging a friend. Like you, Juliet, going and taking part in a ceremony, throwing petals of roses for Lakshmi, the Divine Mother, Mary Magdalene. all the beautiful, Kuan Yin.
Yeah, things to lift the heart. And although there are these really dark things going on, and our children may have been jabbed, and that's really, really, really distressing. That when they're ready, and if they get through this, which we pray every night before I go to sleep, I pray for their safety and well-being. That there are things that can help, and that there's more and more things coming into awareness now of ways, approaches to help to heal people. And we don't even know if all these jabs that have been rolled out, whether they're all the same. That there's thoughts that a lot of them may also be a saline solution. So
yes, there will be, and the placebo solution as well. But there are still some. I mean, in France, from the 20th of October, there will no longer normally, legally, no one should be receiving any more experimentation because the dates on the packages will no longer be valid.
Okay, but whether they'll actually stop that or not. So
yes, but that means if they do, they will be breaching it's like in a shop, if you sell something which
sell
by date, then you can be prosecuted. So my feeling is there's going to be a tremendous amount of court cases coming and rolling out because people have not done their diligent research. People have not protected. People are not protecting children right now. Parents who are not informed are not protecting their children. So it's huge what is happening. But the key is for us to, yes, moment by moment, really, just to trust that there is a higher purpose within all this.
Yeah.
And there is if we stay in our heart, we as elders, as mothers and grandmothers, and we have the child inside ourselves, we're holding all these generations from the past, and we are transmitting all the generations to the future. Let's just invite you just to really go back to that place where, like on the beach today, there was a pristine quality of like the beginning of the world.
Pristine, yeah.
Pristine, yes, like creation. We're co-creating the new.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's really beautiful. So many challenges, and it is so complex. And as I said in my call on Monday, I was referring to Pam Gregory's reading about Red October and about how intense the times are now. And there's a massive, there's so much attempts by governments to crush humanity at this point in time and to roll out these really lethal agendas. And take people's freedoms away. I think just in Wales yesterday, they passed they said everybody needed one of these passes. The same as in France, otherwise you didn't have access to supermarkets and things like that. So, I mean, this is devastating for human beings to have their freedoms stamped on, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
well, if I look at it the other way, it's been happening here where I'm on holiday. It's a bit of a forced holiday because the van broke down 2 weeks ago. But it's all the restaurants, you need to have a pass. And I suddenly thought, I'd just do it a different way.
Yeah.
Hello, beautiful one.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's just how not to go with that, because in fact it is called discrimination. So you could even challenge the restaurant and say, are you aware what you're doing is discriminating? But if you do that, because I have watched a program with Del Bigtree in America, and this woman who had to put this pass in a shop, and she works 24 hours a day. She rears her 4 boys. And she said, I don't want to discriminate anyone. And then somebody came and said, you have to put it back up. And she said, I'm not going to discriminate. But she said, whichever way it was, she felt really threatened by this man and whoever he was. And was she going to be prosecuted and would have to find a huge amount of money? But if I went to the restaurant and said, are you aware you are discriminating according to the law? You're not entitled to do that. I could prosecute you and you'd have to pay 15,000. So whichever way is a loser. I'm talking about the restaurant.
For the restaurant, yes. But it might be beneficial ultimately for us to stand up for what is right, because many of these things that have been so-called laws that have been passed, they're not actually laws, and they're criminal.
They're not.
It's criminal activity that's going on by our governments.
It is criminal activities, and it's all going to be right now. It's starting to, the domino effect is started, but a lot of people are still in amnesia. They're still.
By the domino effect, is that people are being arrested now?
Yes, people are starting to be arrested. Well, there's a lot of information. If you go with David Wilcox, you have to go into alternative platforms like BitChute and really dig your information. Listen to Charlie Ward, listen to Simon Parkes, who is an Englishman. Every country, there are people who are really waking up. But you have to be very mindful, because there's still what is called the whistleblowers. There are fake whistleblowers.
Yeah, there's layer upon layer upon layer of
and that's fascinating, isn't it, Juliet? Because if I look at the astrology, Neptune is in Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces has two sides. One side is really, we need to meditate. We know we're going back to home. We're back with the divine. We're beautiful light beings. And there is a purification process. And we are meditating more and more. And we are coming together. There is a kind of unity, oneness. And, Pisces is one of the most evolved of signs. But the dark side of Pisces, the shadow side, is what's under the iceberg that we have not dared to look at.
Oh, so that's all going to be coming to the surface.
And what is the illusion? How am I getting trapped in what I thought was reality and it's fake? Like the Titanic when it hit the iceberg.
Yeah.
Because somebody wanted to win a race against the clock. And
did that even happen? I mean, there's so many things that's questionable now that we were told that were false flags that apparently happened, but may not have happened.
Exactly.
Or not happened in the way that we thought, like those towers in America, whether they was really taken down by terrorists or whether it was, the government or people in the government, that it was planned demolition. We don't know. It's like there's such a big waking up to be done at this moment in time that our minds are going to be completely like, oh my God, for people who haven't thought about these things, it's going to be such a shock.
It will be. And I've got a feeling this is where we need to stay very grounded, very centered, a lot of meditation work, very aligned, in the power of our heart, and relate in every relationship. Just be very present, because people are really going to lose. They're going to lose their ground.
Lose their minds. People who are already losing their minds.
Well, the mind and then the ground, because they're already ungrounded. So there's going to be they're not going to know what is happening. So we need to be extremely clear, because within the next 6 months, little by little, we're going to get information about some of the dark deviation of energies that have been taking place on children, on abuse, on misuse of power, so many different layers. And that's why it really matters. What is it that you wish to manifest? I'm saying that because today I ended up doing an 11.5 kilometers walk. And I realized 3 days ago, I was in a car with my friends going to visit a mother. And I was thinking, what a beautiful road. Be wonderful to walk that road, just to get a sense of how beautiful it is to walk near the ups and the downs and the ferns and the, yes. And I had that thought. And I didn't get rid of that thought. And today I was taken on that road,
Oh,
on foot.
did you find it by chance?
I was taken there. I was guided. The law of the universe offered me what vision I had 3 or 4 days ago, offered me to walk there. So, what I'm saying today, be very mindful as you reach a certain point in your frequency. Be mindful of the vision you hold and what is it that you want to co-create.
Yeah, you create what you think. I mean, the Buddha taught that, didn't he? Be
Yeah,
careful of your thoughts, because what you
but
think is.
even the vision, if you have an inner vision and think, oh, that's a beautiful little curve and hill and stream. And I thought, yeah, that would be lovely to cycle. But today I didn't have a cycle, so I was walking and I ended up walking beyond what I would have walked normally.
So
When I got home, I thought, that was the vision I had a few days ago.
wow. And it just happened like spontaneously. You didn't
Yes.
know that you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
So be mindful, because you could pull into your field. If you're thinking, oh, I'm going to fall,
Yeah.
be mindful.
Don't think yourself into some awful situation.
Be mindful of what is it that you are co-creating with fear or with something else inside you. I mean, for me, it was just beautiful happiness. But I ended up walking by the road for 5 kilometers, which was a long, long way.
Wow. Was that a round trip, or did you have to then come back the same way that you went?
No. I went the ocean way by the low tide, went on the high dunes, and then through 2 towns. And then on the side of the road, there are little cycling paths where I was walking home.
Nice.
So fascinating.
So you must be very, very fit now, Brigitte, with all the walking and all the swimming in the ocean and.
Well, I don't
Amazing.
know about swimming because the waves have been so huge, but I've been bathing. Yes,
Yeah.
it's been beautiful.
Yeah.
But what I've been doing as well, I've been pondering in a meditative, like Juliet, you were sharing earlier on about that sacred celebration you were doing today with the rose petals, Lakshmi, Mary. I added Kuan Yin. And what I've been doing really has been honoring life and taking myself back to that place of absolute silence. So, yes, in a way, it's been a very different sacred ritual every day. And another thing I've been doing was cleaning the beaches.
Okay.
And while cleaning the beaches, I have not put any judgment on any of the items I've picked up. It could be a lollipop stick, it could be plastic bag, milk bottles, mustard bottles, syringes, shoes, rake, child rake. Some items brought joy in me, other items brought feelings of sadness. But what was lovely, it was just going through. I was just allowing the energy just to go through and then go into the bag. Then I was carrying 2 big bags and taking them back to the top of the dune in the big bins at the top of the dune. But what it made me realize is what happens for people who would not do that in their own homes. Nobody in their own homes would be dropping litter or, yes, not, most people would not do that.
No, some people might.
Some people who are very traumatized and
Yeah.
really very damaged would do that. But then my feeling was my grandchildren, when they were at school, they were taught about recycling. And I was just thinking, what happened to that? And then I thought, it's when we dissociate, which is what Juliet is teaching with the trauma, when we have got issues in our life or at school, or when we start being a teenager, we just sometimes we don't feel we belong. And then we're with a peer group, and then we start adopting patterns that don't belong with us, like leaving litter, rubbish.
Yeah. It always
And
makes me so sad when I go to a beautiful place and then I see lots of litter and I'm kind of saddened that people have gone and enjoyed the space and then it's left. But I think people's minds are being pressurized with other things right now. It's like,
they are, but this has always been the case
yeah,
by
it's
the
also,
ocean. I've
yeah,
walked since I was a child. When I was a child, there was hardly any rubbish. And now it is just, even the ocean has got beautiful white bubbles of foam, but it's got brown bubbles of foam, which means toxicity.
yeah,
So it's, yeah, it's like the collective trauma. I feel what's coming to the surface right now, and we just need to address it and clear it
yeah.
without, with no judgment.
So it's like you're using the collecting the rubbish as a metaphor about what's actually happening
Yes.
in
Yeah.
society, about how our collective traumas come into the surface.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering now, Brigitte, about people who are on the call. All I see is that Paul and Jack are here, but I think there are other people here on the call. Would you like to just put your name up and say hi? It'd be lovely to say hi to you.
Well, I've got Nutrient Nirvana. Hello.
That's
Beautiful
Paul.
one.
Yeah, that's Paul. And
Well, Jack was there to start with, but he might have gone. Yes, he's not there anymore.
well, I don't know. It's only who's put in there. And what we see here is only people on YouTube who might be watching, but there could be people watching on Facebook or LinkedIn. Or do say hi and let us know what's going on for you, how you're coping at the moment.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, what's supporting you, what's challenging you in this moment.
Yeah.
And have a sense of, we're all here together and maybe we can help in some way or maybe not, but just to speak out, just to share what's happening for you.
That's important.
Yeah. And on Monday, I was on the call, made a call about the Outsider Support Network and just talking about the amount of people that are really distressed because of these opposing views, these kind of conflicts within family groups and friends, where people they've made different choices or different interpretations, and then they're hostile to each other or they've stopped speaking to each other.
That is so sad.
And it's really painful.
Yeah.
It's really painful. And that's why we set up the Outsiders Support Network, where we're doing a live Zoom call every couple of weeks. So to join that Outsider Support Network, you can just join on Facebook. If you look for that, and it's a private group, and then we'll send you the Zoom link if you want to be on the Zoom call. And I think that next Zoom call is going to be in a week or so. So we'd love to give you the opportunity to share how you feel, and we can find some solutions. So, yeah.
And there's another thing I've been thinking as well, that this call, the Restream, the elders speaking and sharing a little bit of their wisdom, it's quite a long call for you to be offering your time, so yes, inviting you to really share some of your own insights, wisdom, difficulties, like Juliet was saying. It's really, you're welcomed. It's going to enhance and this call, enrich it, and we really need that.
Yeah, we have on the trauma training, we talk about joint wisdom, about us showing up. Not one of us has all the wisdom. We don't know everything, and it's only when people come together and they offer up their joint wisdom, their joint insights, that we can then have a much deeper wisdom. That we all need each other, and we all have something important to contribute and bring forward.
Yeah.
And it's not like the model that we've been living under societally is that of a power overstructure, where a perceived authority is telling others what to do. Well, that person up there that's telling others what to do doesn't necessarily know that. They're just operating from a place of power that either people put them there or somehow they maneuvered themselves into that position. But then others underneath that gave their power to them. So the model that we're putting forward is joint wisdom, that we can all bring our wisdom together in any one moment and take time to listen to each other and support each other.
Yes, and I've got a feeling as well, it's important to know what you're struggling with right now. We had a meeting recently with a young mother, and she really was struggling with her children being at school and being pressurized with the recent mandates and program for the experimentation on her children and with her friends. And I've been there. I've been there last year.
Yeah, you were really distressed, weren't you? Well, both of us have been really distressed.
Oh, yes, we were very distressed. And it's how to just come back to that place where we reconcile ourselves with that is their choice. How can I be with that choice of my loved ones, children of my flesh, grandchildren of my flesh, of friends of 40 or 50 or 60 years? And that is a big challenge on my trust of my relationship. And that's how I went back to what is a relationship? And relationship for me is about connecting. Religare means connecting. So can I hold the presence with my loved one and their choice? Even though they have kicked me out of their Facebook or their Twitter, because I was not going to have the choice of the experimentation. And me not having that experimentation was distressing them. So I stayed with that and said, I really feel what you're saying. I was really listening to one of my grandchildren sharing that, how distressed he was that I had not chosen. For him, I wasn't safe. I was not being protected. And just allowing that spaciousness. And then I said, why don't we just hold silence with each other next time we call? Let's not go with what you need to share or what I need to share. Let's just be with each other. That was a huge shift.
Yeah, that's really important. How can we just be with each other, no matter what's happening in this moment?
Yeah.
Time.
and allowing myself to feel that he was feeling a little bit distressed and sad. And yes, I feel you in me, and you feel me in you, because he was feeling distress that his grandmother didn't have the experimentation. And it's early days in the revelations. We're just starting now, this month of October, which is called Red October, because there's going to be a tremendous amount of planetary configurations playing out. Right up to December, the 24th of December, Uranus and Saturn are going to be exactly square on the 24th of December. So we're going to have two energies.
That's a real intense push me, pull you energy, isn't it? Because Uranus is all
So Uranus is the voice of the people, the freedom of the people, and the new earth. And Saturn is the old world, it's the structure, is the old order, it's the authoritative father figure. But it's the structure as well, it's the bottleneck. So out of those two, Uranus, who is a further away planet, will win. But there will be pain. So because there is going to be pain, because any 90-degree tension, it's a tension point. Any tension, we need to create spaciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. When I because I trained as a craniosacral therapist, biodynamic craniosacral therapist, and it was all about how to listen very, very deeply to support people, say if they had like pain or injuries in their body, either physical pain or emotional pain. And it's like, I, as a therapist, I don't know what the solution is for anybody. It's how can I sit there and not knowing, and in that place of not knowing, not making any decisions as to what is right for that person. So it's about a deep, deep listening. And the idea is that if you think that you know something and you start to make an action towards somebody, even if it's only in your mind, it's like you're putting resistance into their system. And what resists persists. So whenever you put resistance or force into a system, it causes that force to become more compact. It causes there to be more pain in the system. So it's about creating spaciousness. So you're holding that awareness, that conscious awareness of what you're perceiving in the system, but you're not doing anything about it. And in that state of being witness with that spacious consciousness, then those tight places, it starts to unravel and to release. So it's like with this, what's going on at the moment in society, with this massive force being pushed on humanity, this massive power over situation, it's like, can we witness that with consciousness?
That's it.
Without trying to change it. Which doesn't mean to say that you can't put your voice there, or you can't do right actions. But it's how you can do that with spaciousness.
That's so profound. This morning, what I picked up as the tide had gone right out was the immensity being gifted, the spaciousness being gifted on this new moon. Now, Jack, you're still here. You've been watching on FB, but now I know you're not seeing my comments there. No, we are not. I'm not back now. I'm back now on YouTube. Oh, so
that's strange. I don't know why I didn't see your comments, Jack. It's still a mystery.
Hello, Jack. Do you come here often? Lol. That's Teapot Pixie. I don't know what that is.
Teapot Pixie is Paul's partner, Nicola.
Ah, okay. And hi, Paul.
Nicola. Hi, it's lovely to have you here.
I can't see anybody. So that's very profound what you just shared, Juliet. And yes, How can we manifest more spaciousness as we're going to enter these timelines within the 3D, the world where everything is going to be really pushing us through it's a real finalizing of the birthing.
Yeah.
It's the birthing process. And there is nothing, if you remember, for those of us who have given birth, this is taken out of your hands. We have to step aside, and the birthing process is just doing its own thing. There's a wisdom within that birthing process. And that is what I was referring to, what you were sharing. You hold the space with presence, and you don't put any thought forms, what you were sharing, Juliet, with your sacral cranial by your work, and you just allow the wisdom of the body to receive whatever information, the informing, the form. So it starts slowly, the cervix starts slowly opening, and we will go through that birthing as a collective. So that's beautiful, and it's a huge challenge. But as a mother, having had 5 births, there is a point in the birth where you're no longer able to do the breathing or to do anything. It is just like it's happening. It's doing it on its own.
It's just total surrender, isn't it?
It's a total place of absolute surrender. And it feels like you're being broken and you don't know. It's a surrendering into the unknown. So can we surrender right now to that unknown moment by moment while creating what Juliet was just sharing, that holding in presence, in mindful, conscious presence. That's very important. Conscious presence, which means moment by moment, like you with your rose petals today and Lakshmi. I am that sacred ritual I am creating. As I put those beautiful rose petals, this is me that I'm putting in that sacred ritual with Lakshmi, with Mary, with the Shekinah. I am that Shekinah, the divine feminine, and the divine feminine within man.
Yeah, we're all sacred beings.
Yeah. So every ceremony we make with collective, with a group, Nikki, Paul, Jack, Nirvana group, Nutrient Nirvana, whoever is here. You are that sacred ritual, manifesting moment by moment.
Marianne, hi, bless you. Bless you, lovely to see you here as well. And Paul is not Nicola. Bless you all.
Well, I don't know what's going on today with this. It's beyond me, this technology. So, as we were saying earlier on, can we just invite each one of us, beautiful beings, beautiful wise ones, to hold wherever you are on earth? Just create spaciousness, moment by moment. Because what you're going to offer is priceless and much needed for the sanity of each human being. Yeah.
Maybe we can just all sit for a moment. We're coming to the end of the call, but just, just to really come into an awareness of your body in the moment, and just be present to what you're feeling yourself in your own body, and just being with the breath for a moment, and to know that we are all connected. We're all really connected, even if we're not sitting together in the same room, that we can feel each other in this moment and be with each other. And to just know how important it is to be in that place within ourselves of love and compassion for ourselves and each other, even if we feel out of our depth or overwhelmed or angry about things or sad. Just to be in that place of love and compassion as well. And just offering up a prayer in this moment for all beings on this planet that may be lost, confused, suffering, hurt, that we may all find that love and compassion and spaciousness. And may all beings be well. May all beings be happy. And may all beings be free from suffering. And just sending that prayer out, just allowing that to flow out from us. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om.
Yeah, blessed be. Be blessed, everyone.
Be blessed, beautiful ones.
Remember, keep your vibrations high, even if you feel under stress, and that we're here to support in any way that we can.
Yeah. And remember, we're being held from a higher divine cup of absolute radiance. Of pure love. Each one of us were loved forever and ever. We've always been loved. Isn't that a beautiful thought?
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Mm. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliet.
Okay, thank you, Brigitte, for coming on the call at the end of your long day and being so tired from all your walking. That's amazing.
It's okay. It's been a great teaching of when you hold a vision, check out what your vision is, because as you move into your fifth dimension, it will become manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, bless you, Jack.
Yeah. Okay, lots of love to everyone. Bye, Marianne, Paul,
Bye-bye.
Jack, everyone else who's on the call. Lots of love. Or anyone else that watches this call after this time. Lots of love to you. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.